Hamas has confirmed its leader, Yahya Sinwar, is dead. Israel Defense Forces killed the alleged architect of the October 7th attacks during an operation in southern Gaza yesterday. Troops came across him without realizing it. Only later did Israel confirm through DNA checks that the body was Sinwar's.
Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages.
Today, Israel confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead. And justice has been served. And the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result. Sinwar was responsible for the killing of thousands of innocent people, including the victims of October 7 and hostages killed in Gaza. He had American blood on his hands. Today, I can only hope that the families of the victims of Hamas feel a sense and measure of relief. Sinwar was the mastermind of October 7, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. A terrorist attack that killed 1,200 innocent people and included horrific sexual violence and more than 250 hostages taken into Gaza, including 7 Americans, living and deceased, who remain in captivity. A terrorist attack that triggered a devastating war in Gaza, a war that has led to unconscionable suffering of many innocent Palestinians.
Yahya Sinwar's death. Israeli army releases footage of his final moments amid ongoing conflict. In a significant development in the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict, the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have released drone footage purportedly showing the final moments of Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader who was killed in an airstrike on Wednesday. The footage depicts Sinwar alone in a devastated Gaza apartment, appearing wounded and attempting to fend off an approaching drone with a stick. According to the IDF, Sinwar was identified as a fighter at the time, and after the footage was recorded, the military fired an additional shell at the building, resulting in his death. The circumstances surrounding Sinwar's death highlight the ongoing hostilities in the region. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagari explained that Sinwar fled into a building after a gunfight broke out between Israeli troops and suspected militants. He was found injured and covered in dust, suggesting a desperate attempt to evade capture. The IDF announced that they discovered Sinwar wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying grenades, along with a significant amount of cash. Background history of Yahya Sinwar. Yahya Sinwar was born in 1977 in Khan Younis, a city in the southern Gaza Strip. He became involved in political activism at a young age, joining Hamas during its early years, which began as a grassroots Islamic movement in the late 1980s. Sinwar was known for his hardline stance and was instrumental in developing the military capabilities of Hamas, particularly its armed wing, the Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades. Sinwar's rise within Hamas was marked by his involvement in numerous military operations against Israel, leading to his imprisonment by Israeli forces in 1988. He spent over 20 years in Israeli prisons, where he reportedly became a prominent figure among Palestinian prisoners and further solidified his leadership credentials. Released in a prisoner exchange deal in 2011, Sinwar quickly rose through the ranks of Hamas, demonstrating both military acumen and political savvy. White heavy checkmark in 2017, Sinwar was elected as the leader of Hamas in Gaza, succeeding Ismail Haniyeh. Under his leadership, Hamas adopted a more confrontational approach toward Israel, culminating in the organization's involvement in the 2021 conflict, which caused widespread destruction and loss of life in Gaza. Sinwar was also a key figure behind the October 7, 2023, Hamas-led attacks that resulted in substantial casualties and hostages in Israel, further entrenching his status as a central figure in the ongoing conflict. Sinwar's leadership style was characterized by a mix of pragmatism and militancy, often navigating the complexities of Palestinian politics while maintaining a hardline stance against Israel. He was known for advocating a strategy of armed resistance, which many believe contributed to the escalation of violence in the region. Mixed reactions to Sinwar's death. Sinwar's death has elicited mixed reactions, both celebratory and concerning. Seen as a key architect of the October 7, 2023, Hamas-led attacks, his demise could symbolize a turning point in the conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remarked that the killing marks the beginning of the day after Hamas, suggesting a potential shift in power dynamics in Gaza. Hamas confirmed Sinwar's death, describing it as a painful and distressing loss and asserting that he has become an icon for the Palestinian people. However, the group has not provided further commentary on the implications of this event for their operations or the hostages still held in Gaza. The backdrop of the ongoing military campaign in Gaza has resulted in significant casualties, with reports indicating more than 42,400 Palestinians killed and over 99,000 injured since the onset of hostilities. This military action has drawn international attention and calls for a ceasefire, particularly in light of the humanitarian crisis affecting the civilian population in Gaza, negotiation complications, and future implications. Experts speculate that Sinwar's death may complicate negotiations regarding the hostages still held by Hamas, with Israeli authorities believing that approximately 101 hostages remain in captivity. The return of these individuals is now a critical issue for Israeli officials. Some analysts argue that the absence of Sinwar, seen as a major obstacle to negotiations, could create an opportunity for reaching a deal, while others warn of potential chaos and unpredictability among the remaining militant factions. In the wake of the news, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant urged remaining Hamas fighters to surrender, emphasizing the futility of continuing resistance without their leader. The sentiment among some Israeli citizens has been mixed, with some expressing relief at the military's success while others voice concern for the hostages' safety given the instability that might follow Sinwar's death. International reactions and future of the conflict. Internationally, reactions have varied. President Biden labeled the event a good day for Israel, for the United States, and for the world, indicating a belief that Sinwar's death removes a significant barrier to achieving peace. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken highlighted the need for renewed efforts to end the conflict and address the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian people. The ongoing crisis in Gaza, coupled with the geopolitical implications of Sinwar's death, continues to unfold, leaving many to speculate on the future of the region and the potential for a resolution to the entrenched conflict. As calls for peace and humanitarian aid grow louder, the situation remains volatile, with the realities on the ground shifting rapidly amid the ongoing military operations. Conclusion. The death of Yahya Sinwar marks a significant turning point in the Israel-Gaza conflict, carrying deep implications for both sides. As the region navigates the repercussions of his passing, it remains uncertain whether this will usher in a new chapter in the conflict or further deepen the divides that have long hindered peace initiatives. With ongoing military operations and a humanitarian crisis in Gaza, the road ahead is fraught with obstacles, and the international community is closely monitoring the situation as it develops. We appreciate your continued support in watching our channel. Stay tuned for more updates and engaging content from around the globe.